Hello there, people of YouTube. This is Jolt109. Welcome to Jolt Listens. Okay, enough of that. I am currently in my work uniform. I wear this to work. And actually, I have a job now. So, yeah, you guys probably already heard about that. I just kicked the tripod. Why did I do that? I just got back from work, actually, and I came back, and my nephew just got a Jurassic World set, and this is really freaking cool. Oh my god, I can actually, like, eat the whole screen. Alright, enough of that. Anyways, this is really cool, and also the gyrosphere. He's actually downstairs building the set right now. He wanted me to help him, but I told him that I need to make this first. Let me spin him around. Can you guys see that? Let me see if I can. Okay, enough of that. Alright, anyways, Awoken. Let's get to it. Let's just get this over with, because I really... This is about 26 minutes. It should be shorter, because Scribbler always talks. And Scribbler, if you're watching this, I'm sorry I skip over your little parts at the end, but I listen to the story only, and I want to keep this as short as possible because these take forever to render for me, so anyways, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Okay, enough of that. Let's just get in this road because I want to get this over with, and I actually want to help him build the Jurassic World set, so here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Ponytails. Read by Scribbler.
By Scribbler. Right. Alright. It shouldn't take too long. Oh my god. Sweater. Anyways, what horrifyingness are we gonna listen to today? Because I was so done after the first part. Like, I wanted to just... I don't know, I was just done with life. This is like a Sweet Apple Massacre. Not Sweet Apple Massacre. Something Sweet to Bite all over again. Oh. I got it. I know. Yep. That's been done. What now? Damn, that was intense for no reason.
I felt tense and uneasy at the memory of my first kill. I couldn't stay in bed. I had to move. I had to do something. Anything. Getting up slowly, I parted the lightly blood-stained covers, cursing myself for forgetting to wash my hooves as soon as I got home, and stumbled out of bed.
Oh.
I teetered momentarily and then stabilized as I found my equilibrium. I made it to the washroom and clicked on the faucet. Bringing my face down to the marble countertop, I washed the sweat from my mane and forehead. Momentarily, my world spun as I looked up from the sink and into the mirror. What looked back at me was some pony I never really got to know. Once upon a time, he was some pony who had wanted to be a potter, and given his mother flowers and homemade pottery. Now, I wasn't even sure who he was.
You bastard.
I attempted to stare down the other Pegasus in the mirror. I lost and resigned to simply gazing hatefully at him.
You've made me do this. It's not me. I wouldn't have committed these atrocities. You're not me. You're just who I became. It was a necessity. It was.
The Pegasus in the mirror did not respond to my accusations, choosing instead to smile mockingly. His eyes, they were pink like rainbow dashes.
No!
I screamed, reeling up and shattering the mirror with my forehooves. Shards of glass flew by me in a flurry, leaving thin graze marks and cuts all across my flank.
It's not.
I caught myself in the middle of talking to the wall.
Ugh! What am I doing? I have to get a hold of myself. This is stupid. I'm not going insane. I'm not.
Yeah, you
Yanking
are,
out a few
buddy.
large glass shards embedded in my hoof, I walked back up to the sink. Taking a breath, I looked at the smoothed chrome frame, the only thing that remained of the mirror. It was freshly speckled with my very own blood.
I never liked that mirror anyway.
A thought struck me.
7 years bad luck.
There, amongst the red and reflecting back to me on the metallic surface, was that Pegasi again. I would never escape him because he was me. He wasn't some pony I could stop being. Not someday. Not ever. I slumped down in defeat and rested my chin on the cool surface of the sink. The grip of sleep came over me soon after.
So basically, this guy is just dealing with the fact that, yeah, like I said, he's just dealing with all the shit he did. And now it's coming back to haunt him.
A mere day after my brutal murder of the filly Pegasus, and to the other captives' great surprise, I was back under that domed roof again. I doubled as a mechanic and floor supervisor. I remember how surreal it felt for me that first day in the field, how alien. A mere day ago, I was in the horseshoes of those I could now command. I ignored how they glared resentfully at me, and told myself I was the lucky one.
You brought your life with hers. Shut up, brain.
At the time, I hadn't been given the full body suits that the guards got to wear around, but I did have a white vest, trimmed neatly with yellow. My ID card hung from a clip on my collar. I had gotten to wear a helmet while doing the mechanic part of the job as well. Not only had my title as working pony changed, my mindset had as well. I was almost constantly craving for those feelings I had felt while standing over that bleeding Pegasus. The empowerment, the satisfaction, the one time where I could have control over something in my dreary life. Even the revulsion I had also felt was no deterrent. Forced respect of the overmare mutated into outright admiration. She'd become my role model. Impressing her was the way to stay safe. But over time, I found her ways of total control very effective. She could disarm any problem with a look, and every single pony, male or female, young or old, was compelled by fear to obey her. I sincerely wanted to master her art. No pony could ever make me feel helpless or like a victim again if I could do what she could. As I settled into my new position
But then
in the
you let it
factory,
get to your head.
I found myself striving more and more every day to model my actions after hers. On the floor, I'd been ruthless, lashing out with my taser at the slightest falter, and bucking those bound colts and fillies who were too slow. To my sickening satisfaction, I quickly gained the reputation for being the supervisor to keep away from. This was success to me, a ruined concept of reality. I liked being feared. As long as I was feared, I was in control. And I craved control more than anything else. The next catalyst of change for me in the factory came in the form of an unexpected rebellion. A fresh load of flunkouts had arrived to be slaughtered, and I was up in the workstation tuning the control panel for the massive, meat-grinding Pegasus device. The new load was like the last, and every other before it. Nervous, afraid, and insecure, I was far beyond sympathy, but I did have a strong concept of what was going through their minds. As Rainbow Dash, along with her representatives, arrived at the podium in preparation for the speech, I had stopped what I was doing to watch the show. Out of every other time that group had walked up to the podium, I remembered the details of this particular occasion the most. Firstly, one of the representatives had stepped up to base.
By now, you have all clearly determined that you are not going into exile. There is no deportation. There never was. You are in the factory. You will never leave the factory. And while you may be called useless, that is also not entirely true. You are worthless to the flock as a pony, but you still have purpose. Purpose to all the ponies in this land, far and wide. You get to help us make rainbows. Beautiful, magical rainbows. Doesn't that excite you?
Nope.
As expected, it hadn't. In response to their action, I grinned briefly. My attention was drawn back to the crowd as one cotton candy pink Pegasus stepped to the front of the crowd. There was always one or two that stood up to the authority. They were usually the first to go. If only that pink filly had realized she was sealing her fate. Raising her head in a look of defiance, she shouted at the spokespony.
How could you ever get away with this? How could Celestia or even Luna know about this and tolerate it? It's slavery. It's torture.
It was a good question.
It's Scootaloo's friend!
It was a very good question. Had ponies asked this before? Had I? I couldn't remember.
This
Leaning
is
in
that
a bit
event!
more, I watched as the spokespony stepped down and Rainbow Dash stepped forward. After looking over the audience, she spoke up and explained in that rough, authoritative voice of hers.
1,000 years ago, when Celestia banished Luna from Equestria and sent her to the moon, she was charged with 3 tasks. She originally was in charge of raising the sun and showering the land with rainbows. But with the moon being an additional task, she had to hand down the responsibility of rainbows. Celestia entrusted the Pegasi of Cloudsdale to make the rainbows for her from then on. For the first dozen years, we were given powerful unicorns to help create Spectra. Spectra is pure pigment, pure color. Everything is full of spectra. But you can't just harvest it. You can never separate color from an object. So it was made artificially with magic.
For a moment, Rainbow Dash paused to let her words soak in. A defensive veil of silence had fallen over the crowd
Oh my
as
God.
each and every pony registered the information. Then the overmare continued.
That is until our top engineers made a breakthrough. They discovered an ingenious way to extract pigment. It was so beautiful. Even a simple machine could do it. But it couldn't be done with just anything. The conditions had to be right.
Another pause. I could tell she was
Whoa, what? Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, I don't know what happened. It crashed. The file I was using was just crashed. So I actually went to the actual video on Scribbler's channel, and here it is. I'm starting this at 10:20. Okay. I don't know what the heck happened. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
For a moment, Rainbow Dash paused to let her words soak in. A defensive veil of silence had fallen over the crowd as each and every pony registered the information. Then the overmare continued.
That is until our top engineers made a breakthrough.
Yeah, okay.
They discovered an ingenious way to extract pigment. It was so beautiful. Even a simple machine could do it. But it couldn't be done with just anything. The conditions had to be right.
Another pause. I could tell she was becoming excited as she anticipated the reaction following whatever she was about to say.
It had to be like ponies. It is only in ponies where magic and spectra ran freely together.
That was the trigger, both for the catalyst and the captive pony's sanity. As that wonderfully brutal Cyan Pegasus laughed, gazing down at the panicked crowd that had now pitched
This
into frenzy,
is Rainbow Factory.
a single pained voice cut through the commotion.
I thought you loved me.
Rainbow Dash's
Yeah.
laugh had caught in her throat as she looked about to find the source of the volatile
boy.
scream. When she finally located the speaker, to my deepest confusion, that invincible mare actually hesitated. Rainbow Dash, my role model. Rainbow Dash, the overmare. Rainbow Dash, the head of the Rainbow Factory, faltered when she saw whoever had spoken. She never faltered. Not ever. What could possibly be different this time?
Scoot.
For a period of time after that, I was too dazed to really register the entirety of what was happening. What I did get, though, was the orange filly who had shouted seemed to know Rainbow Dash personally. It was a bizarre concept, Rainbow Dash having a life outside of the factory. Yet she did. I knew first hoof. Equestria was full of tales of the elements of harmony, the ponies who had rescued the land time and time again, and the Rainbow Mane Pegasus who had done more good for Equestria than any pony since Commander Hurricane. Intellectually, I knew I was some pony different outside of the factory, but it was nearly impossible for me to envision her outside at all. She was so much a part of the Rainbow Factory that it almost felt like the building itself would crumble if she wasn't in it. Did any of the other elements of harmony know about the Rainbow Factory? I hadn't known before I got here.
Nope.
None of these colts or fillies had known, judging by their reactions. Did Rainbow Dash's friend know she was the Overmare? Did she wear a false mask amongst them? Was this the real Rainbow Dash, or was that? Which was the real pony, and which was the mask she wore? What snapped me from my troubling thoughts was the orange filly's retaliation. Soon after the demonstration, that same damn Pegasus, accompanied by what seemed to be a friend, rallied the rest of the flunkouts with a few encouraging words. Seconds later, the crowd erupted into the air, en masse, in a flurry of feathers. This was not unusual. What was different was the way they were coordinated. Usually captive ponies were fermented and panicky, but in just that small amount of time, the orange filly had done the impossible. A reverse of roles had taken place, as the unprepared guards were attacked.
They're escaping! Get them!
Stop them! Get them back here!
Get back here, you little pipsqueaks! Don't let them get away!
Wow. I know how this ends, but
At the time of the upheaval,
at least the event that's
I and
happening
my
now, I
fellow
don't know how the
mechanics were
story
mostly ignored,
ends.
though I do remember having to defend myself on few occasions a filly or colt made it up to our platform. As the uprising got further and further out of hoof, my colleagues fled in fear for their lives. I was about to join them, but then I heard Rainbow Dash screeching out a single command.
Kill them all!
I saw her take off from the gangplank to fight the turmoil down below. I felt a strong drive to go to my hero's aid. Even though I didn't really have any formal combat training, I was a good enough improviser and had busted enough heads to do damage where it counted. That hour or so of combat was gory and satisfying. By the end, my white suit had been stained a deep red. I killed many in that brutal battle. I'd fallen into a methodical and effective pattern. Defend, attack, defend, attack. Back and forth until the very last rebellious Pegasus fell, overcome by exhaustion, and was trampled to death by his betters. At this point, Rainbow Dash had disappeared in pursuit of the lone orange filly. I remember standing defiant amongst the corpses of both friend and foe, wishing bitterly for that filly to be brought to justice. In the end, she was, disposed of manually by the Overmare herself.
I don't want to hear this! I don't want to hear this! No! Oh!
Rainbow Dash stared at the machine as it pumped out vibrant purple and orange spectra. She stared so hard and so long that one of her aides stepped close and might have tapped her on the shoulder if she hadn't spoken.
Clear up this mess! Use what you can! Leave nothing to waste!
Yes, Overman. Right away.
She descended from the stout top of the Pegasus device to meet me on the floor. As she approached, I stopped wheeling the Spectra vat and saluted her in respect. Purple liquid slopped about inside, staining the sides of the vat even after it slid back down from the edges.
Stand down, would you?
Her voice was liquid and comforting. I dropped my hoof.
What can I do for you, ma'am?
She smiled brilliantly.
A few things, soldier. For starters, I'd like you to stop calling me ma'am.
I nodded uncertainly, both at the request and at the word soldier. Was that a nickname? Was Rainbow Dash herself giving me a nickname?
Sure thing.
I trailed off as I searched for the appropriate word.
Dash will do just fine.
My heart fluttered with honor.
Of course, Dash.
I deliciously savored that word on my tongue, reveling how it sounded.
Better.
She paused and looked off into the distance.
Secondly, you did a good job this afternoon, soldier. When given the chance, you didn't flee. That speaks in volumes to me, you know. I look for your sort. I knew I'd choose right when deciding between ending your life all that time ago or keeping you around.
She refocused again, and I found myself gazing into those mesmerizing eyes.
I'd like to promote you, soldier. Draft you into my core group, the Orchestrators.
My heart stopped almost completely.
Congratulations.
Were my ears betraying me? Was I dreaming? No. It was really happening.
Yes, Overmare. Of course.
I had nice new private living quarters, and all the time I could have dreamed to spend around Dash. The days from then on began to fade together, blurring the lines between creating a walking hell for the new flunkouts and living in a self-induced one as the heinous crimes committed came back to haunt me in my sleep. I was too far in though now to do anything about it, so all I could do was go forwards.
That was Awoken, Part 2. It was written by Synergy and Scribbler, and featured the voice acting talents of Finish Line, Reuben Jan, Lachlan O'Neill, Ilya Leonov, Astro Brony, Len Ray, Solar Pony, Gina M, Deft Funk, Weaver Brony, and Quill and Led. Thank you very much to everybody for listening.
Alright. Actually, let me just let that play while I... Yeah. No, just... Alright, there. Guys, you don't understand. I just listened to Rainbow Factory less than 3 months ago. It's still pretty fresh in my memory. The fact that I just heard Scootaloo's death pissed me off a lot. I wonder why that didn't work. I just re-downloaded it and now it's working. I don't know what the problem is. Anyways, yeah, I don't know what to say after that. The fact that I just heard Scootaloo's death fucking pissed me off. Because the way Rainbow Factory ended was perfect. You know what's gonna happen, but they don't show it. You just, like, you know, it's like, oh god, after that heartbreaking moment between Scootaloo and Rainbow, it was like, oh my god, the feels and no thank you. Yeah. Part 3 is gonna be a doozy. Alright, everybody, thank you for joining me. I will see you all in part 3 on Friday. Stay tuned for more. Goodbye. I'm gonna go build Jurassic World now, so if you'll excuse me.